Good morning, Ekoji. Welcome to the Sunday morning service. Today is the special observance of Nirvana Day. We are grateful for your presence. The service is being live streamed on Zoom and YouTube. On the Najin today is our resident minister, Reverend Nariaki Hayashi. Our main priority is keeping our sons at a safe place to hear the Dharma. Although we are very happy to see each other, please be mindful of others' comfort levels. Please keep in mind the following policies. Please keep your masks on at all times. Be mindful of social distancing. We are allowed to chant along with Reverend Hayashi since we have masks on. Thank you for your understanding. If you're new to Ekoji, you will find in the back of each seat pocket this laminated guide, which will help you through the service and answer many questions that you may have regarding the service order, as well as the history and the essentials of Shin Buddhism. Reverend Hayashi will now lead us in opening meditation and recitation of the Buddhist.
Meditation provides a pause that prepares our mind to receive the Dharma, the Buddha's teaching. Please place your hands on your lap, lower your head slightly, close your eyes, and release tension for meditation.
Please find the laminated sheet in the service book in the back of each seat pocket. And we will now sing the Vandana Tisarana, the three refuges. Please rise. Please be seated. Please turn to page 49 in the service book, and we will now chant the Junie Rite.
이정 Namo Amida. Namo Amida.
Reverend Hayashi will now provide the Dharma message.
Morning, everyone. So today we observe a special service, Nirvana Day, and welcome to our Nirvana Day service. So this Nirvana Day is officially celebrated on February 15th. But at the temple we choose one of the closest Sunday, close to February 15th, and observe this special day. But it is officially celebrated on February 15th, and it's the day when Shakyamuni Buddha passed away. The historical Buddha, usually called Shakyamuni, died at the age of 80 in a place called Kushinagar, located in the present-day Uttar Pradesh in India. A Buddhist tradition describes Shakyamuni's passing as parinirvana, pari meaning complete, and nirvana meaning extinction or the quietness of peace. Therefore, we commemorate this event as Nirvana Day. When Shakyamuni Buddha turned 80, he was on a journey to teach the Dharma along with his first disciple, Ananda. So he was with his disciple Ananda on his journey to teach the Dharma, to which he awakened. Dragging his aged body, Shakyamuni traveled from the Bocho peak in a place called Rajigraha, crossing the Ganges River, visiting many villages. Ananda, who started to accompany Shakyamuni on his journey of propagation at the young age, he was already in his mid-50s. On the midway of their journey, Shakyamuni and Ananda stopped at a village called Parbar, located in the northern part of India. And at this village, Shakyamuni taught the Dharma to a blacksmith named Chunda. Greatly inspired by Shakyamuni's teaching, Chunda invited them to a feast on February 15th as an offering of gratitude. And Shakyamuni and Ananda accepted Chunda's invitation. However, the meal Chunda prepared was unsuitable given Shakyamuni's health condition and also his age. After the meal, Shakyamuni suffered from severe diarrhea and hemorrhage, but he continued on his journey to Kushinagar. Shakyamuni, assuming how it might be his last day of his life, stopped at a river called Kapta River to rest. And Shakyamuni, lying down on the shore of the river, told Ananda to never criticize Chunda's meal to others. He said, don't blame Chunda. And in a sutra called the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, the conversation between Shakyamuni Buddha and Ananda is recorded. And according to the sutra, Shakyamuni said to Ananda, there will be people who would say that because Shakyamuni died from eating Chunda's meal, Chunda lacks virtue. If so, tell Chunda the following words to release his guilt and his feeling of regret. Brother, I selected your meal as my last meal. Thus, you do not lack virtue. I have received 2 great offerings in my life, and both offerings were equivalently distinguished and full of virtues. One offering was from Sujata that led me to realize enlightenment, and the other was from you, Chunda, which I accepted as the last meal of my life. After your offering, finally, I was able to enter nirvana, the state of peace and quietness. So your offering was indeed virtuous. In the words of Shakyamuni, he first said one great offering was from Sujata. History tells that Sujata was a village girl who offered a bowl of gold milk to Shakyamuni when he was in pain after 6 years of practice of austerities, difficult practices, which almost killed him. After recovering from pain with the help of Sujata's offering, Shakyamuni Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, promising that he will never leave the place until he finds the truth. And on the 49th day, he finally awakened to it. So if it were not for Sujata, Shakyamuni wouldn't have experienced enlightenment. Thus, for Shakyamuni, the bowl of goat milk offered by Sujata was what led him to enlightenment. And Shakyamuni said that Sujata's offering, which led him to enlightenment, was equivalent to Chunda's offering, which led him to death. I think this is an important point that we should not overlook, because this shows how Shakyamuni Buddha saw death and enlightenment, which seems to be, oppositions. So he saw it as one. This means death for Shakyamuni was not something negative, fearful, or full of despair, as we usually feel. But as enlightenment, it was something valuable and natural for Shakyamuni Buddha. Moreover, Shakyamuni referred to death this way because he saw it as nirvana, which is when all sufferings are extinguished and one achieves quietness of peace. In this regard, in the Mahaparinirvana Sutra, Shakyamuni said to Ananda, there are 2 events that are extremely beautiful in life. One is when enlightenment is attained, and the other is when our defilements are extinguished completely. In other words, is when death occurs. Thus, death is when all defilements that are causing our suffering are gone, which is to enter nirvana. And this is why Shakyamuni said Chunda's offering that led him to death was as virtuous as Sujata's offering, which led him to enlightenment. But this does not mean that then we should, die so that we could enter nirvana. Of course, that's not the case. It rather means nirvana is normally attained when we shed our physical forms. In fact, Shakyamuni Buddha, even with that pain, after eating Chunda's meal, he taught his teaching to his followers until he drew his last breath. My point is rather, Shakyamuni did not see death and enlightenment as 2 opposite things. He saw the 2 opposite things as the same and one. A person who was greatly inspired by the view of Shakyamuni Buddha was Shin, the founder of our denomination of Shin Buddhism. In the poem of Shoshinge written by Shinran, he says, we, multitude of beings who reside in times of great defilements, should trust in the truth of Shakyamuni Buddha's words and thus avoid beguilements. But Shinran also had the attitude of seeing 2 opposite things as one. Shinran taught that enlightenment is attained without severing defilements. Enlightenment is attained without severing our defilements. Usually, defilements and enlightenment are seen as 2 opposing things. So in order to avoid contradictions, most understand that it is by getting rid of these defilements that we attain enlightenment. It is by extinguishing our defilements that we reach enlightenment. So this is, how most people understand. But Shinran broke that tradition and embraced the contradiction as is. Thus, Shinran saw defilements and enlightenment as one. This is especially so because enlightenment is based on defilements, and without defilements, there is no reason for us to seek enlightenment. We don't need enlightenment. Thus, Shinran did not separate enlightenment from defilements, but embraced the contradiction as is. In this regard, in the Lankavatara Sutra, it is stated, enlightenment cannot exist apart from ignorance, nor ignorance apart from enlightenment. Since things do not differ in their essential nature, there can be no duality. Thought in this way, enlightenment, which symbolizes Buddha, and defilements symbolizes us, sentient beings, are not separate. In other words, Buddha is not something outside of ourselves, but something within us. So it might not be appropriate to set Buddha as, like an entity that is an object of worship, which is nothing more than, making a separation. A devoted Shin Buddhist, Saichi, once wrote a poem that reads, Saichi, where is Buddha? Buddha? Oh, I, Saichi, myself am Buddha. A Saichi is said to be someone who deeply recognized his defilements within himself. So, of course, he's not saying that he himself is Buddha. He rather saw himself as the opposite of Buddha. But like the relationship between darkness and light, without darkness, we cannot know the light. Same as shadows. Shadows are the darkness that proves that there is something shining behind something. So the shadow cannot exist without the light. And in this sense, the shadow is the light and the light is the shadow. For Saichi, he was the shadow that is something obstructing the light, but he saw himself and the light, which is Buddha, as one. Thus, Saichi was able to see and accept himself as darkness of defilements and suffering without deceiving himself, because there was a potential of Buddha, the light, living in him. As we celebrate this occasion of Nirvana, let us remember the value of seeing and embracing two opposing things as one, which opens our narrow view and enables us to see and accept ourselves as the way we are. In conclusion, I would like to paraphrase from the Vimalakirti Sutra. So please join me, Basho. Just as pure and fragrant lotus flowers grow out of the mud of a swamp, rather than out of the clean loam of an upland field, so from the muck of worldly passions springs the pure enlightenment of Buddhahood. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei. As it is Nirvana Day, we will read White Ashes, which is in the service book on page 21, and we will read this conjointly. Please rise. When Sensei begins to read, please join in. contemplating the transient nature of human existence. Nothing is more fragile and fleeting in this world than the life of man. Thus, we have not heard of human life lasting for 10,000 years. Life swiftly passes, and who among men can maintain his form for even 100 years? Whether I go before others, or others go before me, whether it be today, or whether it be tomorrow, who is to know? Those who lead before us are as countless and as fragile as the drops of dew. Though in the morning we may have radiant health, in the evening we may be white ashes. When the winds of impermanence blow, our eyes are closed forever. And when the last breath leaves us, our face loses its color. The loved ones gather and lament. Everything is of no avail. The body is then sent into an open field and vanishes from this world with the smoke of cremation, leaving only the white ashes. There is nothing more real than this truth of life. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old, and therefore we must, one and all, turn to the teaching of the Buddha and awaken to the ultimate source of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of this life, which is unrepeatable and thus to be treasured above all else. By virtue of true compassion, let us realize the unexcelled value of our human existence, and let us live with the Nibbutsu, Namo Nibbutsu, in our heart. Please be seated. It is now time for the ritual of Ashoko, traditionally the burning of incense. This is a time to quietly contemplate and reflect on the impermanence of life. Due to the interim policies of the board and the influence of the COVID virus, incense burning is not being allowed, as it would involve the handling of incense pieces, excuse me, and would result in smoke. We invite you to come forward to the front table, offer gasho, and should you wish, place any dana, which is our offering of gratitude to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, in the virtual bowl on the table. Please approach mindfully with safe distancing. Once finished, please return to your seats via the side aisles. Thank you. We're going to ask you now lead us.
In closing meditation and recitation of the Nembutsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
A few announcements. Our Dharma discussion group will meet immediately after today's service. All are welcome to attend and pull up a chair around the computer. This will be also live streamed via Zoom and YouTube. Please continue to RSVP if you will be attending Sunday services in person. This allows us to maintain adequate spacing between households and have your contact information should the need arise. Our Buddhist movie discussion group will meet on Sunday, February the 20th at 2 p.m. In the Ekoji Zoom room to discuss the film Groundhog Day. The group is open to everyone and all are welcome to join. Thank you to those who participated in our first ABONE 2022 planning meeting last week. A lot of great ideas were exchanged, and we are excited to host a fun and engaging event. Please keep an eye out for more information about how you can help in the coming weeks. Thursday night's meditation group will meet at 7:30 p.m. here in the Hondo, and this will be hosted by Frank Swithers and Roger Scott. And I think we have a raffle going on today. Is someone going to take charge of that? Jose, please come forward.
Good morning, Ekoji. So let me ask if everyone has one of these blue coupons. Is there anyone doesn't have one? Okay, so everyone. So tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And we have 4 gifts here, and I'm going to get help from this beautiful young lady to choose the first winner. Okay, the first winner number is 379175. Who is it? Okay, could you come here, please? So you can choose one of these. It's up to you which one you like. It's up to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second winner number is 379168. Okay, good. Okay, you can choose one of these, whatever you like.
The chocolates.
Thank you. So the third winner. So the third winner number is 379172.
My first ever winning something.
Oh, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just choose one.
May I get the flower?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. So, okay, the fourth and the last number is 379178. Where's your ticket?
Husband.
Where's your ticket? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ekoji, and happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Take care. Have a wonderful day. May the best team win.
Good morning, everyone.